I promised to make a brief introduction about using PyCharm. So let's start. At first, I suggest to use the project I created for the application. So if you installed PyCharm and run it first time, it will look like this, and then you will be able to check out the source code from the Git, or if you already checked out the code, you can use open functionality to find the folder with the PyCharm IDE files. Like this. So as you can see, it shows small, I don't know what is it, small box on the folder icon, and it means it can be opened as the project. Let's do this. On the left side, as usual in many other IDEs, PyCharm shows the project tree. On the right, we have an editor. There are also some additional windows that can be reached by the links on the bottom, left and right side. The most important for project configuration things are stored under the settings from file menu, and the project has two configuration parts: project interpreter and project structure. So the interpreter is our Python virtual environment we created at the beginning, and the project structure is the structure of the folder, and here you can see some folders that has a color marks: sources, excluded, templates, and resources. So we have cruises marked as sources, we marked as excluded, and we also has some templates folders marked as the templates. It lets IDE to handle files from these folders more smart way. We can also have some Django configuration, specific Django configuration. At first, it's a Django project root setting file and the managed script. The managed script is something we use for running the server and for making migrations, etc. There are a lot of other things, but I think we do not need to tell about them now. The most powerful thing of the PyCharm is the editor and the navigator across the files. If you open the help menu, you can find the key map reference menu item. I strongly suggest to print this one-page document that has a collection of the most useful shortcuts. You may not need all of them, but they really simplify the navigation across the files of the project and also editor. Okay, at first I will show the editor features. So it has the keywords highlighting and also very powerful auto-completion things. For example, if you start typing something from the Django, like start symbols of the Django tag, and then click on the control space. If you have a Mac OS, then command space. IDE shows all the tags we can use. If we click on under some specific tag, the same command space. IDE, if possible, also will try to autocomplete. For example, if we have a load tag and click command space, it will show all the libraries we can use. If we edit HTML, we can also try to click command space, and IDE will show what we can enter at this and at the point and the cursor. So I clicked inside the HTML tag, and IDE shows all the attributes, HTML attributes I can enter here. If I click after the tag HTML tag start symbol, it will show all the HTML tag I can enter, etc. So the command space is one of the most usable things. If you, so it depends. It works depends with context. So, for example, if I click inside the class attribute, it will show all the available classes I can use, etc. And the command space auto-completion works inside most of the files, HTMLs, Python, JavaScript, any of them, CSS, etc. So, for example, I click inside the path of the include and click command space, and it shows what's inside of these folders. So it's pretty useful. Another often used shortcut is Command N. This is a shortcut for the navigate, and it has different notations. It can navigate to classes. It can navigate to files. It can navigate to symbols. Symbols is anything from class names, file names, method names, etc. So for the classes you can click on Command N. For the files you can click Command Shift N, and for the symbols you can click on Alt Shift Command N. Sometimes it requires to find something across all the files. For this you can click Command Shift F. It try to search something across the files, and it can also search inside a project, module, specific directory or scope. For example, it can search even in the project and libraries, so it can find something inside our project or inside the Python scripts installed from the outside. inside the library source code, because some libraries are provided in the source code. It also has very powerful features for the refactoring, and it also context dependent. So for example, if we click on some file, we can right click on the file and look under the refactor. We can see what we can do with the file: rename, move, copy, and save, delete. If we click on some place in the source code, for example HTML, let's see, it also has a refactor. We can also make a rename, move, copy, inline, and etc. If we click inside the code, for example on the method name, we can also do some refactors, and they are much more powerful. So we can rename, change signature, and a lot of other things. It is useful when we edit some code to see all the extended classes and base classes. PyCharm shows some icons for the methods that for the methods and for the class names if they are overridden. So for example, our audit mixing class is overridden, and if we click on this icon, we can look at all the classes that override this audit mixing. The same for the method. And also we can go up by the inheritance hierarchy and look at the base method. For these movements, we can use also shortcuts. So for example, if we want to look at the implementation classes, or for classes that overrides this class, we can click on the command Alt B. I suggest to look at the keymap reference document I taught at the beginning. Okay, what to tell about else? When we want to create something, we can go at the folder in the project and click on the hotkey Alt Insert, and PyCharm shows us what it can create under this folder. A lot of things. Okay, another useful feature is ability to run Python code and also Django servers. If we look under the Run menu, there is a Edit Configurations menu item. And here we have a ability to add a lot of different configurations to run or debug. For example, I already have the configuration to run our Django server. I will remove it now to create from scratch. So I click on the plus button and select Django server. I add a name and also add some properties for running. So it's a local host for the host, default port, additional options. I don't need any additional options, so I can just click OK and have the cruises added to configurations for running. Now I can click on the Run button and the PyCharm will start the Django server for me. We can also stop it here. And for example, if I need to debug, I will click on this debug icon, and this code will be run under the debugging. So now it's easy to set some breakpoint in the code. Just click on the field on the left from the editor. Let's stop on this breakpoint. Okay, I put a breakpoint under the save method of our audit mixin. So let's just edit something. And try to change something. Here it is, we stopped at the breakpoint. Here we can save the stack, threads, arguments, and everything inside the method. So we can check what's here, check what's there. It's useful to evaluate some value. So for example, we can click on the Alt F8 to open the evaluate window and evaluate something. We even can evaluate something that is not under the project, for example, like this. Any code here. Here we can see what happened in the console. PyCharm also has integration with source control and also with JIT, and there is a version control window that can show local changes, and so a log of all changes under the repository. We can click on the commit, then click on the file and ask PyCharm to show differences. It shows what was added, how it was changed. We can also compare different versions, etc. We can check for the new updates in the repository if click on the Ctrl T. It's like a pull from the JIT. And we can commit right from here. Click on the Command K shortcut. And if we have something changed, it will show. For example, I removed unused import. And commit with this message. We can also do push. And almost all the other JIT commands. Sometimes it may be required to use some specific JIT commands, but the most common workflow can be covered right from the IDE. So I think it is enough for the introduction. If you will have any questions, I will be ready to answer, and I can also write some specific tutorials if you need. But for the moment, I think it's enough for the start.